Hello again, everybody. Zagatech is here with my WWE Raw review for this Monday, July 23rd, 2018. I come to you from Cincinnati, Ohio. I think it's like the U.S. Bank Arena, I think. I've been to Cincinnati. Nice city. This Raw tonight, coming off a couple okay little walls, and coming up so extreme rules, and trying to top what I heard was a pretty good, amazing TNA Impact Slammiversary on Sunday night. Raw was continuing down the road to SummerSlam. We got some big stuff. We had a couple matches named for SummerSlam, some interesting steps. And we found out who was going to face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. As you read from the subtitle, damn. Shit. But the main event was not bad tonight. There's like there was a tag match, and the main event match was good. A couple good things about Raw. Some bad things about Raw was the abundance of rematches. We had a lot of rematches tonight. So it was the only little negative for Raw. A lot of rematches, a couple squashers. So some of the filler was like, but there's like 2 or 3 really good things that made up for an okay little Raw. And of course, the big historic announcement that would open up Raw this evening. It was announced over the weekend that Stephanie McMahon, forgot to mention, Triple H and Vince would accompany her as well, we're making a special historical announcement. Now, when we see an appearance from Stephanie to make something historical, announcing something historical, it usually revolves around the women. Announcing the first Hell in a Cell for women. Announcing the first Women's Royal Rumble. First Women's Elimination Chamber. Go down the line. There was a lot of reports of what could it be. First, there was rumors about an all-female tag team division. There was even rumors about some belts being made for the female tag team belts. You know, that'd be great. Even with some storylines for women not doing so good, maybe they can get some better. They should hire the NXT writers for women's division stuff. They would probably do more better with the women's segments than the main roster does. Just ask Bayley and Sasha. Anyway, we'll get to them in a minute. But it wasn't an announcement concerning the Raw or SmackDown tag team women's titles. As the entire roster, or at least the majority of the roster was out there, we did see SmackDown people, including Nikki Cross, who hasn't made her main roster debut yet. She has been working house shows over the weekend, replacing Charlotte. Charlotte's still recovering from breast implants surgery. She'll be back next week, I'm hearing. She's aiming to come back next week for SmackDown, July 31st. So, we had everybody out there. Sonya Deville was absent. I think she tweeted out later that she had plane delays, so she couldn't make it to SmackDown. But we had all the guys out there. They made me think it was something else for a minute. Then they brought the women up center. And like I said, it was not an all-women's tag team titles. Maybe that could still happen. Maybe the combination of the women's tag team titles may happen at an event that was also rumored. The other announcement that was rumored, besides an all-women's tag team division, is an all-women's pay-per-view. Now, it's been bubbling for the last few months, especially after the Greatest Royal Rumble. It was an all-guy event, and there was no women for that event. And else to make up to the women for not being allowed to wrestle in Saudi Arabia. And silence the cynics for promoting women's evolution and then partake in an event in a country that didn't allow women to wrestle. So now it is official. It will be an all-women's pay-per-view. It'll be October 28th. The original date for TLC, Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, will now be in December. Clash of Champions is canceled. And now Evolution, the women's pay-per-view, will take place on October 28th in Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, New York. Now, they're advertising all forms of women will be involved. Legends, including Trish, Lita, and Beth Phoenix. And also NXT women and Mae Young women. Because they're advertising for now the Raw Women's Championship, SmackDown Women's Championship, and the NXT Women's Championship will be defended. Plus, the finals of the second annual Mae Young Classic will take place. I like this idea. Hopefully it's not a shitty-ass pay-per-view. Because a lot of people are like, it's going to be a botchamania fest. You know what I mean? Every time there's a women's thing announced, there's always cynics. Mostly, sometimes sexist. Maybe not all of them. But, anyway, they say, it's going to be a botchamania thing. Like, the last couple women's things, some of them have been good. Like, the women's Money in the Bank was good. But, of course, yes, the last couple women's titles matches at the last 3 pay-per-views, underwhelmed. That's why I said we should get main roster people out and have the NXT writers work on the women's segments, especially in the women's pay-per-view. Hopefully, Triple H and Stephanie are running the women's event and don't let Vince and his dumbass folks get their hands on it. They better keep Vince's hands off of it. You can see his face because he was kind of false. Like, ugh. So Stephanie and Triple H are the big force behind this women's stuff. Especially Triple H started by booking better matches for women in NXT, and now they extended to main roster for the most part. Besides, the last couple women's title matches was kind of underwhelming. Hopefully Ellsworth stays away and Woman stays away. I think my dad was watching with me and he's like, could they do a male match? Like a pre-show male match? No. I don't think they're going to do any male appearances at all unless you have like Ellsworth or Lana being accompanied by Rusev. Who knows? But it's exciting. Hopefully they deliver, and they've delivered for the most part. In the first Money in the Bank match for them, first Women's Elimination Chamber, even the first Ladies Royal Rumble was pretty good and entertaining. You know, advertising the same 50 women would be involved in this pay-per-view. So it's a pay-per-view, normal 3 or 4 hour pay-per-view. Like I said, there's some cynics out there, but for me, I think it's a good idea. I can't wait for it. For October 28th. Now on to our first match of the evening in the beginning of a running gag throughout the evening involving Elias. He was trying to sing a song from his Yep, It's Real, people, his real debut album, more than an EP, because there's only 4 songs on it. Walk with Elias. He kept coming out doing several matches throughout the evening, doing the beginnings of 7 matches, advertising the album, trying to sing, all the way up to the main event where he finally got to sing a bit of the title song, Walk with Elias. And I heard the album, and it's not bad of an album. May not be everyone's cup of tea when it comes to, ever said mostly acoustic guitar. You know, it's a stick, you know, just him and a guitar. Although there was piano on a song called Nothing I Can Do. The first 2 songs are okay. Ballad of Every Time I've Been To is decent. So was Elias's Words. And then Nothing I Can Do, not bad of a ballad. My favorite song, I think, from what I've read on several Facebook reviews, everyone's favorite track is the title song, Walk with Elias, which he did, like I said, a sampling of before our main event tonight. And I like that song. It's probably the best song for his character. Like, the music reflects his character. And there's a little bit of choir singing during the ballad of Every Time I've Been To. So if you haven't listened to it yet, at least listen to it. Give it a shot. May not be the best wrestling-related album ever, but it's a novelty and it's actually not bad. So, I mean, I'm hearing it's like in the top 20 of the iTunes albums. That's insane. So, anywho, so we saw Elias coming up before our rematch from Extreme. Like I said, we had a lot of rematches tonight. This is the first of them. For the Raw Tag Team Championships, a rematch from Extreme Rules, the B Team once again defending against the leader of worlds, Matt Hardy, and Bray Wyatt. The match was almost the same like the Extreme Rules match, with another interesting ending for it. Good action here, though. After the B Team got the little dominance early, Bray and Matt did their little dominance. Bray some big moves before getting the tag into Matt. Matt going for his big moves, including a twist of fate at one point. That was near the finish of the match, as Matt nailed the twist of fate by Hardy onto Curtis Axel. Dallas would break up the count. And then with Matt and Axel still in kind of a pinning position, Bray Wyatt was trying to come in to take out his brother, but he inadvertently got tripped up by his brother, pushing Matt onto Axel with the momentum. Axel would be pushed into a pin. 1, 2, 3, BT wins. I mean, it's a shtick. They get the surprise wins every time. You know, like the surprise, like, you know, like being tripped up. Oh, we win. Stick. You know, that's the shtick. And they stay undefeated. I thought we were going to see like an AOP beatdown. But it's down a few times worldwide. Really? Anyway, we'll see that a little later on. So, B Team got the win, but they will not be celebrating for long. As the leaders of words would give them a standing ovation for the smarts, but they would take them out with a double move Both being taken out by each of the guys' finishers. I think Axel got laid out with the Twist of Fate, and then Bo got laid out with the Sister Abigail, or was it reverse? Axel got Sister Abigail, and Bo Dallas got Twist of Fate. But anyway, this feud's not over yet. We still see the Revival backstage, though. Or we haven't going to see the Revival feud for the titles ever. They're going to stop being buried. Creatives, like I said, sometimes creative can piss fans off sometimes. They make fans want a fantasy booking. They can do better fantasy booking than creative does all the time. Especially when it comes to Bayley and Sasha. Man, I'm over this. I think everyone agrees. Now they're friends again. Really? The only good women's story you had going into WrestleMania that you never really capitalize on. You didn't really do a proper payoff. And we had somewhat of a closing to a payoff a couple of weeks ago. That badass Bayley moment that had one of the biggest pops in a very long time. And you failed to capitalize on that as well. By putting in silly, stupid segments with Sasha and counseling to be forced to team up with her again. And now they're kind of friends like, oh, we accept each other's differences now. God. I think we're over this now. I would love these two to feud at the pay-per-view. But by that point, by the time we get to Evolution, we really don't even care about these two by the time if they're finally going to break up again for real and not just fool us again. This cat and mouse game with the Bayley Sasha, will they, don't they? So it look like a soap opera. I know they say wrestling is like a guy soap opera, but some you can get two soap opera. Look at this. They're teaming up again against some jobbers. Jabba jabba jabba. Jabba jabba jabba. Jabba. And, quick match. Double team for Bayley and Sasha. I think one person got tapped out with the bank statement. So they hugged it out. So we can see these two still team up together. It's like, you did all this work to try to start a feud between these two and did all this great stuff. You fucking don't do it all. And if you finally do a break-off feud, it's like the boy who cries wolf, like, oh, they're breaking up. Now they're not really breaking up. Like, by the time they actually finally break up for fucking good, no one's gonna give a fuck because of what you're doing with this feud. Like, ugh. SMH. Anyway, we are next segment involving Monster in the Bank, Braun Strowman. Once again, interrupted Elias. Like I said, it was a running gag. Elias was trying to come out. He did get a song in, like I said, doing the main event. Well, before the main event. So, Strowman was hearing about the women's pay-per-view. A lot of shoving that down our throats. You think they were shoving Roman Reigns down our throats? They were shoving the women's pay-per-view down our throats. It's a good idea, but they were like, and the Stephanie promo like 3 times. And you saw a lot of people backstage saying, oh, we're looking for a women's pay-per-view. Even Strowman said it. And of course, he wants to cash in on whoever wins at SummerSlam. But as he was waiting, call out more people, Kevin Owens would come out. We haven't seen Owens in a couple weeks since that dramatic fall off the top of the cage in their match at Extreme Rules, which caused Owens to win. And Owens was taped up, selling his injuries, because we didn't see him last week. And he was like, man, Stormy, we could have been friends. I was trying to be friends with you. My son even wanted me to be friends with you. So we can be a powerful team. But no, you hurt my son's feelings and my feelings by beating me up, especially throwing me up that cage. You've been having this vendetta against me for the last few weeks and blah, 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 blah. And then Constable Coleman came out saying that Stephanie's here tonight. So she wants me to help you out, Strowman, with your anger management. At least you're not going to therapy like Sasha Billy did. We're going to send out Jinder Mahal. We haven't seen him in a few weeks. He's been relegated to main event status. Who thought that might have fallen? And he's got this meditating thing. Not as old as his foreigner gimmick, but still. At least I got him on TV more. And he was trying to get Strowman to breathe in and out like, oh, Shanti. Oh, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sorry, I'm thinking I'm kind of a nerd sometimes because I'm a music guy and a wrestling guy. So I quote a lot of music stuff on my channel. Especially with this, is there's a song from Madonna's Way of Life album where she says, oh, Shanti. Oh, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So let me think about that for a second. No one of a musical segue for that. Like I normally do like musical segues. Like I did like a couple of segues with Prince. So thank God his state didn't take down my videos yet with little clips of his songs there. But then Storm was like, I got my own meditation. Close your eyes and breathe in and out and repeat after me. Get these hands. Get these hands. Corny but funny. We did get a big boot and a beat down on Sunil Singh. So we're probably going to get Jinder and Strowman next week, although that wasn't officially named. But we do have an official match set for SummerSlam. Owens and Strowman a billion, or whatever the number is now. Not going to be in a cage. Like, that's usually like a blow-off match. Usually like a cage match, or in certain cases a Hell in a Cell match is usually a blow-off match. Nope, that was not the blow-up match. This will be the blow-up match at SummerSlam. Owens and Strowman, again, this time, there will be a step, and it will be the step of Strowman's Money in the Bank briefcase on the line. That was made by Stephanie in the parking lot as she was leaving. Because she was being confronted by, she was being talked to by Angle about applauding her for announcing tonight. And then here comes Corbin and Owens. Talking about how Owens has been manhandled by Strowman the last few weeks. And we need to stop him from obstructing me, having a vendetta against me, and it's all being aided and abetted by Angle supporting the vendetta. And Angle wanted Strowman to face Owens again. And Owens was like, I'll take it this time with the step of the briefcase on the line with the contract. Stephanie agreed. So, there you go. On to our next matchup being Mickie James and Natalya. Bliss at ringside. No Nia Jax involvement in this one. Interesting, we didn't see Nia come out to accompany Natalya like Natalya did to Nia at Extreme Rules. So much for being friends. I like Mickey's outfit today. She looked kind of that outfit. Like a little golden outfit. Almost looked like Seth Rollins' outfit at WrestleMania last year. Decent women's match. You know, it was fun. It was like electric chair moment. So decent action here. Mickey's still looking good, even though she has been used a lot since her return. At least when she's used, she's doing decently against Natalya. There was a little bit of interference on the outside with Bliss getting involved, and Mickie James would capitalize on the interference by Bliss being taken out by Natalya on the outside with a lariat, and she would walk into a mid kick and 1-2-3 victory for Mickie James. A little momentum for Miss Bliss and her friend. Of course, she will face Ronda Rousey at SummerSlam. Ronda's suspension is still happening and will be lifted next week. So we can see Rousey next week. Cincinnati almost got the shaft, almost like Detroit did. No Lesnar, no Rousey. But at least they had more matches than Detroit did. Anyway. Now on to our next scenario involving the AOP. And they had a segment. And they talked, proving why they never should have gotten rid of Paul Ellering. They're not good on the mic. At least they spoke English for once, instead of their native language. They and Titus Worldwide came out, and Dana Brooke did accompany Titus Worldwide this week instead of last week. At least we know now. I kind of like over questioned her not appearing with Titus Worldwide and her being with Alicia Fox when I thought Dana was a face, not a heel. But she did accompany Titus Worldwide, so they're still together. So I overanalyzed it like I did last week, so I apologize for that. Anywho, they would come out to confront all this pain. They've had a couple matches the last couple weeks. AOP won. Now this week's still going. Titus tried to speak. He fumbled on his words. He didn't trip and fumble on the ground like he did at the Royal Rumble. But it proved why WWE superstars need to go improv on their promos and not be forced into reciting stupid, silly, written promos. At least Roman Reigns had a good one. I'll tell you about that in a minute. And then we had a beatdown with Titus Worldwide looking tall. So, like I say, this feud's still going. AOP should be going for the tag titles, but nope. They're feuding with Titus Worldwide. Kind of like Finn Balor should be in a feud for the Universal title. No, he's still feuding with fucking Corbin with little bitty Balor in his little bitty doghouse. You're thinking that segment is Balor talking with Drew Gable. Now that would be a good tag team. They're not doing anything, so what the fuck? Do something with them. So there you go. So yeah, Titus's little written speech didn't go well, but then we had a woman promo backstage. And I love this promo tonight. It's probably, like, when Roman is not limited to a scripted promo, when he's allowed to go improv sometimes, he can deliver some good promos. It's happened a few times. I like this promo saying, poke to poke walls, and like, I know everyone's been saying, like, oh, I'm the guy I'm being shoved out people's throats. Guess what? Like it or shut up. So he addressed the haters somewhat. So I was like, wow, he actually addressed the hate. But I don't care if people boo me or hate me. You can hate it all you want about me being shoved down your throats. I was like, wow. I can't believe they actually let him say that. But hey, they can let Bruce Pritchard say a lot of things they can't possibly let anyone say on his podcast, which is really good. If they have a season 2, they can let Roman kind of say something that some people may thought they would never allow him to say. Now the line of rematches continue with Mojo Rawley against Tyler Breeze. Rematch from last week. At least Breeze is on television, especially with his partner out. Now, okay, little match, a little squashy, with Mojo being dominant again with the pounce, but he kind of did a variation on his finisher. His finisher for the last couple weeks have been just an Alabama Slam. Now his finish is now a combination Alabama Slam Powerbomb. I like that better than just the Slam. You know, the Alabama Slam Bomb, or as my dad likes to call it, the Bama Bomb. He likes the Alabama Slam Bomb. It's probably one of his favorite moves. I like that move too. But I actually like this variation makes it more of a serious finisher than just the slam and no variation with it. So there you go. Mojo still wins. They teased a possible feud with Bobby Roode. We did not see him get involved. We did have the interaction last week, but we saw nothing from it this week. So maybe Roode was doing something? Or is he injured? Who knows? Maybe see some interference with these two next week. But on to a match that was named by Big Bad Corbin on Little Bitty Balor. God, silly. It's Finn Balor against Dolph Ziggler's buddy, Drew McIntyre. I thought they split up amicably, but they're still together. At least they can maybe go for the tag titles finally. Anyway, this stemmed from last week with Finn Balor being a thorn on the side of Drew McIntyre. He got the brunt of the punishment from Drew in the triple threat match last week, and Finn was kind of blamed by Drew for causing him the match last week and causing him an opportunity to challenge Brock Lesnar and be in that main event tonight to be the one to win a match to challenge Lesnar. So they had a little match here. Good match for the time being. Drew came back with his big moves, being dominant, using his big, strong body on the little puny Balor who needs to bring back the demon. Fuck the gay. I like gay things, I'm not anti-gay, I'm not homophobic. I have friends who are gay, I like the LGBTQ community people, but whoever's making Balor be this Balor come for everyone and erasing every little thing that made him cool, not letting him be the demon anymore, should be slapped in the face. I mean you, Vince. Anyway, at the domination from McIntyre, Balor come back with his big fly moves, including a couple of sling bangs. He did attempt for the coup de grace a couple of times. The first time he attempted it, he did get blocked by McIntyre. There was a cool tornado DDT nailed by Balor when he was countering a move from Drew. But then the second time he was going for the coup de grace, Dolph Ziggler got involved, pushed him off, disqualification. And at that moment, I was like, we haven't seen Seth Rollins all night, so cue up, burn it down. Here comes Rollins. The beatdown was on, and the impromptu tag team match was named by Kurt Angle. At least we didn't get the impromptu tag team match named in the opening segment like they normally do. So we had McIntyre and Dolph against Balor and Rollins. This was a good tag team match, probably one of the few bright spots of this wall this evening. Fun action after Balor was isolated early, double team by Drew and Dolph, who were surprised by the last minute tag team match. They tried to run off, but he got attacked by the faces. That's how we started the match with an impromptu brawl. Then once things got a little settled, Dolph and Drew got the little domination game, the isolation game, like I said, onto Finn before the hot tag. 2 coming in with his big moves, the sling blade, a couple attempts at the stomp a couple times. Doing a couple super kicks. It was just fast-paced action, especially in the last 5 minutes, like move after move after move, near fall, very exciting matchup. Ending with Ziggler McIntyre setting up the Doomsday device onto Rollins after Rollins would not stay down for like Drew's big moves, including inverted Alabama Slam. Dolph was legal, and that's when they're setting up for the Doomsday device. And then Rollins would Hurricane McIntyre, counter out of that, and they would set up Dolph for the stomp and the 1-2-3 victory for Seth Rollins. So he's pinned the Intercontinental Champion, setting up a rematch at SummerSlam. Like the cage match should have been a blow-off match for the Owens-Strowman feud. The Iron Man match should have been a big blow-off for the Ziggler-Rollins feud. But they've had good matches lately, and they were once again battled out in SummerSlam. Hopefully the fans won't troll this match like they did at Extreme Rules. I would have preferred Balor to get the pin here. I'm sorry. I love Rollins. I'm a big Rollins guy. But Balor's not doing anything. I'd rather see him challenge for the Intercontinental Championship. I'd rather have seen him be the one to get the winning pin. I thought with him against Drew, I thought they were setting up a Finn match for the IC Championship. It would be Drew tonight. Or even when there's a bump through tag match made, maybe he'd be the one to pin Dolph in this match. Because I had a feeling Dolph would get pinned by someone to set up a possible IC title match down the line at SummerSlam. And that man would be Seth Rollins. Maybe Drew McIntyre will be banned this time. We will have a rematch involving Dolph's friend Drew and Seth next week. And we also got Finn Balor against Constable Corbin again next week. Feuds that never end. And speaking of rematches, we have Ember Moon against Liv Morgan. Again. I said this last week, I'll say it again. The only negative about Ronda Rousey being the dominant force in the women's title picture is that other women are getting shafted and not being allowed to be in the spotlight. Like Ember Moon in the Wyatt Squad. We did not see Sarah Logan tonight. Maybe she's hurt too. And of course, Ryan's still hurt. Hopefully she won't be back. Hopefully she'll be back sooner than later. But one thing I like to cut a couple weeks was okay little matches just there, a little filler. Morgan tried for big moves, big kicks before. And moves with the energy would set up for the Eclipse. Not as big of a sell as a couple weeks. I loved Liv selling the Eclipse a few weeks ago. Sell wasn't as good as that, but big victory for Ember Moon. Still floating around. So there's that. I do want to mention before we get to our main event. We've been seeing like all these like commercials doing the WWE show involving like WWE superstars doing commercials, like we saw like Alana, who's had commercial last couple weeks promoting both Dollar General and Snickers. Some of them can be corny like that, and the Sasha Banks Cricket Wires commercial, but I like the Burger King commercial with Charlotte Flair and Shinsuke Nakamura playing a game of cards. I love when Shinsuke says Jax, yeah, licks his lips, and then Charlotte's like Queens. And then the king would deal the hand of the sandwiches. And the next one was Ron Simmons. That was the funniest thing, was seeing Ron Simmons. Damn! So I was like, yes, I'd let my ass off doing that. There you go. Now on to our main event. And like I said, this is when Elias would finally get a song in. Angle would interrupt him, but said he had the floor. He tried to sing a little bit of the title song for his new EP. There's a special on the network. He's got 2 specials on the network. A special of concert he did in a bar on Bourbon Street that was shot during Mania weekend, and a making of the album Walking with Elias, coming out next week on the network. Saying it was like, don't get the vibe. I like to play in big cities. I get sick when I say Cincinnati. It's like the worst sea of people I've seen in my life or something. And then Lashley would interrupt and will lead to our main event, Roman Reigns against Bobby Lashley, in our main event to determine the number 1 contender for SummerSlam, and more importantly for Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Not a bad match. Wasn't as good as their Extreme Rules match, but it was still a fun fight. Both guys jockeying for position. A little couple wrestles here and there, but we had a little brawl on the outside. The woman did like a couple spots, like Bobby Lashley was on like the middle rope, and he did like a little leg drop from Roman. And both guys did all the power moves, a couple spear attempts from both guys because they both used the spear as a finisher. We did see a drive-by, but we did see like some big moves on the outside from Wayne's. Couple minutes of the match, I did see like a little cut below the eye of Woman. I was like, what's that for? Then I realized it's probably the stitches and the impact that Woman felt after he got headbutted by Drew McIntyre in that triple threat match last week. Got a nasty headbutt. He got cut up pretty bad. So that's why I think he's got a little thing above his eye there. So that's probably why it's from the impact of the headbutt last week. Unintended headbutt by Drew McIntyre. But both guys went for spear. And there was even like a couple of times when Lashley went for the spear a couple of times. He did nail it one time. I thought that was it. I thought, oh, they're going to do 50-50 booking. Because I even said last week when they made this match, I was like, when they set up these triple threats with both these guys in them, I was like, they're going to make it a freaking match between Woman and Lashley again. And they did. So, and I was hoping we were going to get like interference. There was like chance of we won and both throughout the match. The only trolling of the match that I remember. Ambrose is from Cincinnati. So we're going to do a chanting for him. There's been rumors about his return. Spoiler alert, it did not happen. So I did not think Roman was going to win clean. I was hoping and praying we were going to get a Brock Lesnar appearance tonight and have him school over both guys and make a triple threat, even though, like I also said last week, that we had a multi-man match last year for the Universal title in Fatal 4-Way, which was one of the best matches of SummerSlam. And the main event of it. And best SummerSlam main event in recent years, even if it involved Lesnar. But at least it had 3 of the guys to carry the match. Actually, 2 of the guys. In Roman and Brock. Anyway. After Lashley's close effort against Roman getting that spear in, like I said, I thought that was it. And then, and by the way, that spear came after they brought him outside, including a couple step spots. And Roman got tossed back into the ring by Lashley. He kind of landed on the back of his top of his head, opening it hurt badly. Like the impact of when Reigns got tossed over the middle rope back to the ring, like I'm Lashley, here's Roman, like toss in the ring. Damn. I know it's a bad example, but I was like, damn. So at least it didn't get hurt there. That's when we saw the spear. The Woman kicked out. And then Lashley's going forward again. And then Lashley got speared by Roman Reigns after a Superman punch. No interference. No Lesnar. No screwy ending. Clean finish. Roman Reigns, sadly, as many of us expected, they went the predictable route and booked the man who's faster than the Rey Mysterio, more powerful than a Big Show, able to bury careers on a single bound, and be able to bury Lashley's career with a 50-50 booking. Super around. Make Woman look strong. Like, I was fearing the scenario. I was praying the scenario was going to happen because I did not want 50-50 booking. You know, we saw Lashley beat Reigns last week at Extreme Rules. And when his rematch was named, I was like, shit, they're going to do 50-50 booking all up there. Unless they have Lesnar show up to do a one-in. And then they announced he was going to appear next week in Miami. And I was like, hopefully they're trolling us and Lesnar shows up anyway. But sadly, he would never show up to a city like Cincinnati. Just like he didn't show up in Detroit. And I hope that Lesnar actually shows up for a... That was like the thing with him and Roman at the Road to WrestleMania. Is that Lesnar kept not showing up, whether it's intentional or not, to make Roman more sympathetic figure, which failed miserably at Mania 34. By having like Roman saying like, oh, I show up for work and Lesnar doesn't. Making fans sympathize with me. Failure. Hope they don't pull that shit again. So there you go. Good match though. But man, I was praying for a non-clean finish. But we got the clean finish. And sadly, Roman won. And gratefully, if Strowman keeps the briefcase, he'll cash in at SummerSlam. But we do need a part-time champion gone. We do need a full-time champion. Even if it's Roman, but I want to be Strowman. We did see Roman in the last ring shake hands, a little feud, a little ego over who's better guy. Their feud is over. So now Roman can move on. Sadly, to Brock Lesnar. And hopefully the match at SummerSlam will not fucking suck. Like the match at WrestleMania. And like the match at Greatest Royal Rumble. So, gratefully it's not the main event. but it probably will be. It might be one of the most main events, once again involving Brock Lesnar. So there you go. That's it for Raw. My thoughts on Raw. Hopefully Raw be a little decent. With Rousey's return, a couple rematches, including McIntyre against Seth again. Now that we do have Seth and Ziggler form, then we have Balor against Corbin again. And we have the Woman Lesnar showdown if Lesnar shows up. So there's that. With that being said, you've been attacked by the review from Zach. See you all later. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching.